Good evening, everyone. This is Jamie Starr with the New World News Network. I wanted to cover this article I had come across on my internet browser. It's about Kanye West. He, as of lately, with this whole new album coming out, has just been on a slew of, I don't know, embarrassments and failures as far as trying to publicize it. And I used to really like Kanye. His first albums were good. The production was on point and everything. And then it just sort of became this circus. And I think people are so turned off by his arrogance and his actions that they just don't care. I referenced it in my other video with the clip from DJ Academics, where he had mentioned, Kanye West telling white people not to review his music if they basically weren't going to jerk him off and stroke his ego. There was also a fashion show he did the same week as the release, and it was awful. It was the most dreary, depressing thing I've ever seen. It looked like a slave auction with these people in these tattered and torn Matrix kind of clothes, looking like they're all homeless and Syrian refugees just standing on stage. And I mean, a white T-shirt from Kanye West costs like what, $1,000 or something. No wonder why he's broke, because he's making really ridiculous moves. And that's the other thing. He's $53 million in debt, and then asked Mark Zuckerberg for $1 billion. And the funniest thing about it is he asked him on Twitter. And if you're going to ask the owner of Facebook for $1 billion, you should at least ask him on his platform. But, Kanye can't do that. Then there's another beef beforehand, I think, between him and Wiz Khalifa about Amber Rose and all that. So he just goes nuts. So he has this new album. I haven't listened to it yet. I'm going to listen to it because I thought Yeezus was pretty good. I really liked Hudson Mohawk's production on it. So I'm going to give it a listen. I thought 808s and Heartbreak was a good album for what it was, and I thought that was him trying to, expand his sound and branch into different genres and stuff, and it really kind of, I feel like when he went left field, that's when the mainstream appeal really picked up, because then they were like, oh, okay, he's not just a rapper and a beat maker, he's trying to be an artist, like an all-around musician. He wants to switch things up, change his whole image with the sound, did a movie with it. It was all really cool, and especially My Dark Twisted Fantasy, oh my god, that album is amazing. And Kanye, that's the thing. I feel like he just can't recapture that. I mean, that album was his Thriller. So, and that's the other thing. I'll say that album was his Thriller, his main album, but he's not Michael Jackson. Beyonce isn't Michael Jackson either. People need to stop with this whole, they're the next Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is Michael Jackson is Michael Jackson. There's only one. There's only going to be one. No one's the next Michael Jackson. Sorry. Let's deflate those egos a bit. So, here's this article I found, and I think it's absolutely amazing, because as you go through, it basically talks about how Kanye West, who's, declaring himself the greatest artist of all time and everything, has gone nuts because the Life of Pablo leaked to the torrents. And I noticed the first day when I was trying to download it off of Kick-Ass, I would keep finding ones that were taken down by the owner, copyright infringement. I would have to find it in, they were mixed in with, the TV shows and stuff, trying to slide them through and make sure enough people get it. And the nice thing about torrents is, once someone's got it, it's going. It's there. You can't stop it. And torrents and all of that sort of file sharing bit, as we're going to get in through with this article, was a response from Napster, the original peer-to-peer download service. So, this was on Torrent Freak, and it says, Kanye West, please, please, please sue the Pirate Bay. And it goes on about how, let's see, for those who just returned Civilization following a week-long trek to the Amazon basin, West launched his new album last Saturday. Then, following the genius decision to limit its availability only to those subscribing to Tidal, The Life of Pablo was illegally downloaded, uploaded, torrented, streamed, swapped, and exchanged all over the internet all week long without Kanye getting a cent. And this is the thing. Is such an egomaniac that he's basically, like, in a way, extorting people, I suppose, because this exclusive release thing, like, okay, what, so now someone has to sign up for Tidal? And that's the way it's going. Beyonce's Formation was released exclusively on Tidal. They're all fucking just, and I think Jay-Z runs Tidal or owns it or has a big share in it. He's the main guy behind it. And probably some other industry people. But it's, they're basically saying, we're only fucking with this. If you're going to get our stuff, only get it from here. And these artists think they can make these sort of monopolistic moves and try to establish Tidal as the music monopoly point, and it keeps backfiring on them. And I think it's amazing. So, restricting the availability of the album, reviewed by West as one of the greatest of all times, was a move that probably made commercial sense somewhere along the lines. After all, these industry people know what they're doing, right? But isn't artificial restriction and man-made shortages what caused piracy to boom in the first place? Yes, it was. What's perhaps most frustrating about this entire episode is that the pirating masses had just begun to understand that music can be obtained legally, conveniently, and at a reasonable price via services such as Spotify. Signing up for a fair monthly fee would rid them of their privacy habits while rewarding creators, customers were told. And I think all these services are great. 50 Cent said right before, like, Pandora and Spotify and all these boomed, he came out, it had to have been, I want to say 2009 maybe, and he said soon it's going to switch to subscription-based services where you just pay $10 a month and you can access everything. Now you see Amazon does it, Microsoft does it, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, so on and so on, Tidal. There's so many of these subscription-based services, and that's how it's working. But now they're basically trying to monopolize. You had Taylor Swift, who took issue with Spotify because artists weren't getting enough of the money or whatever. Then came along West, waving his self-important exclusive flag while shitting all over fans' $10 on their $10 per month subscriptions, like a rich and perverted Oliver Twist. West still wants more. Look, West is a popular guy, no doubt about that. Even his most ridiculous of tweets, and there's plenty of them, get thousands of positive reactions. Millions love his music too. That can't be taken away from him. But apparently he's now surprised and angry that his music is being pirated to heaven and back. Is he really that self-absorbed that he didn't see that coming? And, I have this theory, and I know the industry people will never admit to it, but when My Dark Twisted Fantasy came out, I had gotten a handful of the tracks because you had these 9-minute tracks with these big instrumental parts and everything. And I had a good friend of mine, Cans, remix a whole handful of them. And then we basically took it and repackaged it and put it out as if he was on the album. And he was getting asked to do shows and everything on account of this because people thought he was actually working with Kanye West because we put it out in the torrents as if it was the real thing, when it was these remixed versions and everything like that. That's my little trick as to how I've done what I've done with the music industry and everything, and it's worked out very well for my benefit. So any musicians listening, you can steal my secret moves. But after all of that happened, and we had gotten thousands and thousands of downloads and everything, you started having, like, Beyonce do the surprise album and these kind of, like, no pre-release, just bam, here's the album. And I really think it was a reaction move to what I had done with My Dark Twisted Fantasy. Again, they'll never admit to that, but I know I got enough downloads on all of that for them to notice and for them to be pissed off. So, with further Twitter rants now appearing tantalizing on the horizons and about to be put yet more icing on this considerably overbaked case, West is now reportedly thinking of kicking some pirate ass by taking the people behind Pirate Bay. He's going to talk to his lawyers, see where he stands, and hopefully Tidal will partner up with him in any legal proceedings because it was supposed to be an exclusive release. So basically it goes on. And saying how they're just going to end up giving the Pirate Bay more publicity by trying to do this. And it says, Pirate Bay hasn't been doing too well since they were raided in 2014. Now Kick-Ass Torrents is doing more. And it also points out, though, let's see, where's the spot? Um, what Kanye needs to know is that despite the mock begging in the title, suing the Pirate Bay would be the most stupidest thing in the world. It didn't work for Prince, it didn't work for Michael Jackson, and it even managed to make the Village people look like fools. Kanye, the way you deal with the Pirate Bay is stop giving fans a reason to go there. The notion of online exclusivity is so old-fashioned, it's mind-bending. Easy access to all music for everyone at a fair price is what you should be aiming for. Rant about that in a tweet when you get a minute. And this is exactly true. And I think if he does push this, the only thing it's going to do is make hackers and the online community and artists more innovative. They're going to come up with new platforms to keep it going, and it's going to work out better, not for the artists, but for everyone else, because that's what happened. When Napster was shut down and you had Metallica and everyone going after them, then came the torrents and came the Pirate Bay. It's always a cause and effect. But Kanye getting his panties in a bunch that people aren't going to pay for his music and everything like that, especially when he's $53 million in debt. I mean, I feel bad. If you like his music, you should help him out, but he's so arrogant and such an asshole that you really don't feel like taking the money from your pocket and putting it in this egomaniac's. So, Kanye, go for it, because it's only going to work out well for people like me.